8:10, it's Independence Afterglow Day. What? Good morning, St. Neves.
Good
How
morning.
was that? How was all that birthday energy for you?
How are you?
40th birthday energy. What's up?
How was it for you? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Island Tea. How was it for you?
It was good.
What did you do?
Mostly stayed home. I was supposed to go to the parade, but my son fell asleep, so someone had to stay home to babysit. So,
Oh, that was
wifey
nice of you.
and the daughter. I really wanted to. Well, I saw some of it yesterday on TV. You know, I gotta say, I'm gonna say this, and some people might not like
Let
what
me
I'm gonna say.
hear it.
When we started having like a local fireworks supplier here, right? The local fireworks engineers and so on. I was like, okay, cool. But then I'm like, why did it have to be someone who didn't look like me? You know, I mean, it's like, is this something that someone couldn't think of and imagine that there could be a market? So I'm very glad to see this new era of using drones in a regimented, choreographed fashion to do very interesting things. I saw it for the first time. When did I see it? But yeah, I've been seeing it for the past 5 years. People using drones. You have a fleet of drones, and you can program them to do all sorts of things with lights and aerobatics rather.
Okay.
Forming shapes and so on.
So let me backtrack.
So I am very pleased to see that I was told that it's a local supplier. So I am very pleased to see that someone saw the potential for a business like that and went ahead and did it. And now whoever it is,
Well, first of
yes.
all, my sympathies to you that you missed the parade because it was amazing.
Yeah, so I heard.
So I was extremely tired because I left here and I went straight to work. I had two events because I decorated a truck that was in one of the parade, the Skellect truck. I decorated that. And then they had the National Pride Fair, so I had to decorate. I did like a balloon wall out of the flag. And there were prizes in it and people had to go pop that and win prizes. And then we were supposed to do the stage, but then people didn't turn up with their decor when I was decorating tents. And so I never finished working until 10:30 that night because, of course, now when the event is over, somebody still has to break down all the stuff, right?
Yes.
But I ran home, got showered, got dressed, and I went to the parade, and I'm so happy I did. That's the first time I've been to the parade.
That's your really?
Yes, I usually look at it on television. I am not getting up that early on a holiday to go in that sun. Oh my God! And it's
So
usually
wait,
really
you mean
hot.
they had the parade
Like
the
morning-
following morning?
No. They usually
one at
have
night.
it in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
morning.
okay,
That's
right,
what they
yeah.
had in the night. And I
Yeah,
saw
which I think is a very cool
or
idea.
Inspector Phipps. Like I zoomed in and got a couple pics of her because she told me she was leading the female battalion, whatever the proper word is, troop. They looked really nice in their whites. The Taiwanese were amazing. They did like all of these, what's the proper word? Is it procedure? Is it stunts?
Drills.
Drills
Yeah.
with their guns and their uniforms and their turning and their precision. It was impeccable. So parade and then the drone show. And so my 3-year-old godson was with me. And he slept through the entire parade, of course, even with all that band and drumming. And we had like a little drumline session. And we had the cadets and we had the defense force. And the guy that was leading the defense force kind of did like a little dance in the middle of the performance, like walking up to the ground, the whole audience screaming. My godson slept through all of that. But woke up in time for the vehicles parade because they brought out all the different forces, their vehicles. Don't want to be biased, but I thought the Skellect truck looked the best. But yeah.
Hey, it is what it is.
The
right?
Coast Guard had a boat, and they had solid waste, they had Skellect, they had the police, they had
Coast
the K9.
Guard had a boat.
Yeah, the boat was being pulled by a pickup, but it was nicely decked out with flags and everything. All those nautical, whatever they stand for, flags. He woke up for that, started screaming that he wanted a fire truck. I saw Timothy in his full dress ensemble, like, yeah.
Really?
I was like, Timothy!
You mean Harris?
The guy that comes here,
Oh,
Timothy
Timothy.
Martin,
Oh.
the fire officer.
Good morning to everyone. He never remembers the names of
What
our
do you
guests.
call him, Jamster? The fire officer
Oh,
that
Tim,
comes
yeah.
here.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So I saw, he was there. They
when you
looked
said that, I was
really
thinking
nice.
Timo, you know?
Oh, no, but it was the troops on parade.
But then it could have been him too, because I was thinking,
Why would he be
maybe
on parade?
He got no, not on parade. Like I thought maybe she was as an
Let me
aside.
drink some
No,
coffee.
as an aside, she was mentioning that she saw Timo seated.
No,
or
sir.
whatever.
And I didn't.
thought
I
it
only
was
saw
that.
the dignitaries that were inspecting the troops. But then, let me get to this drone show. Because if you missed it, you missed everything. I'm going to rub that in. Now, for you, Mr. I don't know why it couldn't be somebody that looked like me doing the fireworks. What did the first peoples look like? Do we have any of them here?
What do you mean the first people? What
The
do you mean?
Kalinagos, the Caribs, the Arawaks.
No, that's not. That's
Yeah,
not, this- that is not what we're
that is
discussing.
what a typical Kittitian looks like,
This
right?
is-
Because those were the first
No,
people.
no, let's not
And
go-
it was
let's-
depicted in the drone show. No, don't interrupt me. I didn't
Let's
interrupt you when you
not.
were talking. Let me have
Let's
my
not.
say now. So
Let's
that
not come in that
whole
straw man
that
argument.
whole nonsense about why it couldn't be somebody that looked like me doing the fireworks. Go and learn to do fireworks.
Here
Nobody's
we go.
stopping you.
Here we go.
But
Here we go. Caping for other people again.
Stop cutting me off. But the drone show was amazing. I don't know who the owner is. I don't know who the controllers were. I don't know who planned it. The narration and the depictions were on point.
Yes.
You saw everything from when the volcano erupted, when the islands were formed, the petroglyphs that the Kalinago peoples left here. They even included Owali. You saw Nevis Peak. I was blown away. I don't know what my favorite part was, but when that train formed and it turned and like it was chugging coming towards you, I was literally screaming in the audience. I love fireworks and I love that drone show.
Okay,
so now I'm kind of torn, like, which one do I like more? Might be the drones, because the fireworks can't really do those shapes like that. To my knowledge, anyways.
Jamsa has something to say.
No, I was just saying. I'm told by WhatsApp that it's a Trinidad company, but yeah, someone had told me it was a local company.
That one that looked like you, huh? Yeah. So yeah, that
Hey,
drone show
I
was
said what I said, and I will
amazing.
always say that.
But
I want to
Jamstar-
see people looking
Did you see
like
it?
me,
Did you see
making
the
money
drone
off
show,
of me.
Azard?
Sorry.
But guys,
Did you see it?
Yes, I saw.
You made
it.
it?
No, I didn't make it in person. I was actually engaged in another activity.
I saw
was
you, sir.
at the
I saw
People's
you. I was
Action
looking for you on the dance
Movement
floor.
ball. I actually,
Did
moved
you
a li-
dance?
Yeah, I moved
Let me
around.
go back, check these
Everybody
videos.
had their flags. Everybody was moving around. It was a joyous time. We ushered in Independence Day. We had our countdown. It's an annual thing,
hold on. Let me tell you, when I saw Sir Kennedy with his flag jamming through, I was like, what? Well, where is Azard?
In fact, I probably was close to
showed
Sir
you
Ken. So perhaps the videographers didn't capture that.
Really?
Which is fine. Because it was such a beautiful moment and it felt like it was such a joyous occasion. Persons waving their flags. We had the message that was delivered on independence for the first time in 1983. And then, that song, Viva St. Kitts. I love St.
Oh,
Kitts.
yeah.
Oh, that song is amazing. And imagine going around. We did a little, train around the room with I Love St. Kitts.
Hold on.
And of course,
I
we had
never
our
knew that song
our
was
songs
called
with
Viva St. Kitts.
Yeah.
I call it I Love St. Kitts.
And, we had our songs that depicted St. Kitts and Nevis marching together into that realm of independence. It was a beautiful occasion. And then afterwards, I saw the stream with the drones and beautiful as well. Beautiful.
I kind of just want to see a video of you dancing. So.
Candy, I don't know if I should charge persons for that, It's such a
Everybody's been asking?
rare and special occasion.
Oh, wow. You know what? I'm sure I know somebody that was there. I'm about to hit them up and tell them, do you have a video of Azard dancing? Let me see. Because I saw Sir Ken having a field day.
Yes, he was.
And I was like, well, I saw him. I saw a couple of the other, persons, executive. That's the word I'm
Yes.
looking for. But I didn't see you, sir.
Yeah, that's
Are you sure you were there?
That's a good thing.
No, it's not.
Maybe.
Are you sure
maybe
you
some
were
of the
there?
times I'm the one with the camera.
Whatever. Don't even try it. What else did you do?
Yes, and I'm thinking what else I do of the week. Oh, I went to the Independence cocktail last evening.
was that?
By Government House. It was filled with so many people, but people
Wow.
enjoying themselves. It was a good occasion.
Was it free?
It was. It was invitations. But I must say it was packed. It was
Wow.
packed with people, and in celebration of independence. And I think it was well attended, and the atmosphere was very warm, both in personalities and also the atmosphere.
Oh, very well.
I
Yeah.
thought to myself, imagine if I was in person at the drone show. I don't know how was the temperature there.
It was fine, and
Oh.
I'm always hot because right now I'm questioning this AC, but it was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I had on a t-shirt, very light t-shirt,
Well, maybe
but it
it's the
was
dress,
fine.
because the cocktail persons were in suits.
Were you
long
moving up
suits.
and down? Because maybe that's what
Yeah.
generated.
But then
some
it
of the
was
heat.
so many people in one area, so that could have been it as well.
Oh, okay.
But I found that yesterday evening it was quite hot. Even I don't know, like the breeze and blowing like it used to.
It was humid. Yesterday was kind of crazy
Yes.
indeed.
And then Independence, we had so many things I see. I think they had a jam.
They had a jam?
Yeah, I think they had a jam from the Newton festival. They did the committee did a jam.
Oh.
Yeah, because even during the afternoon, I was trying to make my way through Bastille. And I was like, the roads are blocked, and there's so many
Wow.
people. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
and I saw videos of persons participating
In the jam?
In the jam.
How did I miss this jam?
Jamming.
I didn't even know that was happening because people been messaging me to ask me what's happening, right? I guess they think I'm on the radio. I'm supposed to know, right?
Yes.
But I didn't even know half of the things that were happening yesterday because somebody was telling me like, "Are you going to Bliss?" I'm like, "Bliss what?"
There's so many
I was like,
activities,
There's a festival called Bliss.
Oh, and then
No, a fete.
Because just getting my way here, someone told me apparently there was a fete yesterday.
Yeah, that was Bliss. There was Bliss Fete. There's another one.
Oh, I don't know.
There was a
I
fete
never
at
asked the
Carambola
name.
called Bliss
Oh,
on Independence Day.
oh.
But I don't know what else was happening. Like other than the cocktail and the fete, I didn't even know there was a jamming thing. Like I spent all day
Yeah.
yesterday working.
Oh my gosh.
So no holiday for me. Yeah. And I know I did think about going to that cocktail thing, but then I was so tired. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Because I worked so much the day before.
I
I was
could
just happy
imagine.
for the rest of the day.
I could imagine.
But today's back to the grind.
Yeah, I must admit, Candy.
You tired?
No, I didn't do anything yesterday. Of work. Yeah.
Oh wow!
I feel so amazing.
Finally,
I
you
feel
took
so,
a break.
Yeah, I feel so amazing.
I am so proud of you.
I feel amazing. I feel like I could do wonders today,
Come to my office and help me. I have enough work to go around. Jabster, you are welcome to come as well.
Where?
To work.
Work.
I'm sharing out work because
Work.
Azard says he feels like he can go 10 more times. So,
No, but it's
yeah.
good. Oh, but let me ask you a question. When you're doing what you're doing, you consider it work?
It is work because I do charge for labor.
But yeah, but I mean-
if I'm enjoying it, so
Yeah.
let me be honest. Working outdoors in this heat wave, this humidity, this sun that has lost its path, and according to my sisters, it's a new sun, and he's taking his job very seriously.
That reminds me, I almost died last week. Ike.
This sun is crazy, man.
Ike said he swears the son got double salaries. So
Because I'm working really hard.
Ike said the son.
Nah.
He said it has to be the son got double salary, and it's
Let me tell you.
It
really-
gotta be.
My company has two colors, right? So
I
my
almost
company
died.
colors are teal and white and gold. But I made black shirts for when I'm going to do
Oh, I
formal
love the
events.
I love the idea of the gold candy.
Thank you. Right? I was like, nobody come here with a black t-shirt. We working outdoors. Let me tell you,
But
I am doing this wall and I am pelting sweat.
I know,
What?
I know.
Outside was very, very, very hot.
the thing is, though,
Tell us, Jam.
I mean, no. The thing is, when you're doing,
You mean things that you love?
yeah, yeah. There's the challenge. Even me, like when I'm doing this, and like I'm setting up, and a lot of times,
Bruh.
you do this too, where you go and set up ahead of time because just setting up is gonna make you sweaty. So you go and set up like 3-4 hours ahead, then you go home and change and then go back.
So I set up at
Yeah.
10:30
Yeah.
On Monday morning.
Yeah.
And then we actually started like a little bit after 11 because there were so many
Oh
things
my
to do because
God.
they had like tents all around the square.
Yeah.
Lord, yeah.
And I don't know, have you seen the balloon wall that I did? Because I
Show
kind of
us.
had it up on my status yesterday.
Yes.
That's
So
cool.
this is what it looked like.
So I take that as a
Oh,
yes.
wow.
I take all of that as a yes.
Yeah.
That
so
you it doesn't feel like work. Even
Can you see?
even the bad parts, it doesn't, not bad, but
So
the
it's
challenging
all
parts, it
made
doesn't
out of
seem like
balloons.
work, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
but I mean I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they had prizes in it.
Oh.
When I got back at
So you
night,
pop a balloon and
right,
you get a prize.
pop a balloon and there was a prize in
Oh.
it, right?
Someone told me that Digicel was giving away money or something.
They had a Digicel booth there as well.
$1,000 and
Like
stuff.
they had a spinning thing and you could go into the booth where like all the stuff is
Yeah.
flying and you just
Yeah.
grab whatever. But let me tell you, when I got back at night, not one balloon was left. The children decimated that wall. Like, children and balloons.
They love the balloon.
Lost it. So when I went back to
So
dismantle,
that you're
it was
saying
gone.
that flag, those are all balloons?
Yeah, these are all balloons. Yeah,
Hold
Yeah.
up that again?
they killed it, killed the wall.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what I was doing in the square.
So how did you paint the
Ah,
stars on the black parts?
can't
or-
reveal my secrets.
Okay.
You can't, Candy, don't give away the secret.
But feel free to hire me
She
for
has
your
no
balloon work.
She has no she has nothing to fear. I have no intention of getting into that market.
I see. But there might be someone who's listening now.
Right.
I'll leave it to her and Jeffrey.
Thank you, Council.
And it's all about independence, and it's just a nice feeling, a nice vibe to know that we have reached so far as a people, and we have to look at the legacy that has been built by those before us, and of course we look at the legacy built by our national heroes, Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw, C.A.P. Southwell, Nathaniel France, we know Simeon Daniel, Sir Kennedy Simmons, and the work that all of them would have put in to ensure that we are here
Today.
celebrating.
To celebrate.
Hmm.
I think we did it in fine style.
Yes.
I mean, at first, when it was kind of like crawling along, I was like, come on, pep it up. I want to see some decor. I want to see some patriotism. I want to see
they were saving
activities.
it for closer to
Let me
the
tell you,
time.
they had a gratitude concert. They had Belle Pastel. They had the Patriotic Day. They had the National Street Fair. It's like there were so many things to do that people could not complain.
It is amazing. And if you look at the development of St. Kitts and Nevis, especially during the time of our first Prime Minister, we look at the fact that, there was an established local government in Nevis. We look at the fact that the CBI was introduced, the building of Port Zante, securing funds and approved designs for the new airport,
Wow.
the completion of the deep water port.
Oh, that was part of it?
Imagine all of those weren't there
You have a call
before.
Casey.
Okay, nice. And this South Peninsula Road. Caller, you're live.
Hello, good morning.
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 Hey.
A request I want to make.
Mm-hmm.
I went in assistance of a young lady last night, right? During the parade.
Yes.
For playing clown. Like she lose everything when it come on breath. Me and the manager for collision band had to lift up like dead weight. But I had my clown hat in my hand, right? I gave a woman to hold. Mine had to use my 2 hands to help the young woman. And the woman walked with my clown hat.
Oh, my. She likes it more than you.
After my car came, and people just standing up, right? Man crying out for help. And it's like people are like just watching, and it's like in space. Two young women in a clown suit, and then again, I saying to people, when you're going to go jam or whatever, don't put on the black shoes, no black socks. Because the heat from the ground, like into shoes, and she's on a clown suit, they make it more hotter for her.
So she passed out from the heat.
Yeah, something like that, and it's like, I can go to somebody's assistance.
Do we know if she's
somebody-
okay?
Yeah, she coming through.
Amen.
But I give me somebody my clown hat. Why they don't walk away with it?
I know. That's crazy.
I was glad to get back there, It's about 30 years of performing that year,
So to whoever is listening to the caller, could you please return the hat? I mean, come
I'm
on.
going to send my number on the radio.
Go ahead.
My number is 668-2555. Begging, Cash Ride Tweet is my name. I'm begging that person. Please, they need it for carnival. Please, thanks.
All right. We hope they hear you. I hope you get your hat back.
Akash, on a lighter note, maybe it was an elaborate ruse just to get your hat.
No.
I'm just joking.
And the number?
Yeah.
True.
True. Maybe. Maybe.
Last summer.
Yeah. I really do hope you get your hat back, though. Good luck.
I hope so too. Thanks for that.
No worries. Have a good one
Okay.
today. Oh, wow. I'd love to see how that hat looks because they put a lot of time and effort and material into those costumes.
Yeah, someone just messaged me and said, "Good morning, Azard." So nobody is going to mention the fact that Dr. Kennedy Simmons deliberately omitted from the whole lead up to independence in the drone show.
What did I miss? Elaborate.
Trying to get the information, but from the drone show, I would have realized myself that I think they had a like Bradshaw putting his hand up. Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, cool. But I thought that maybe a display would have been lovely, but I wasn't going to mention it on the show because we were going in.
Where would he have fit in?
He could have fit into the end when we actually the time when we actually got independence because we realized that Sir Kennedy was the person who actually was here and who would have ushered in independence. So for I actually said I thought about it. I actually was going to say nothing, but then I have here somebody who even highlighted. They went from Bradshaw Street to the national flag, and no mention of Sir Kennedy. And again, this is what I've always said: when it comes to independence is for us all. And I mean,
so you would have wanted to see. So Sir Robert L. Bradshaw was the first premier, right? So,
if we're going to talk
they
about
put
it, let me say,
no. I'm asking. So you wanted them to have Sir L. Bradshaw, Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw, then Sir Kennedy, then the flag?
Yeah, because then it only makes sense logically that you're going to put or recognize the individual who actually was alive at the time to usher in independence. So Kennedy was the prime minister of St. Kitts and Nevis in 1983 when we became an independent country. So Kennedy was the premier during 1980.
Then
and
we're going to have somebody complaining they didn't show enough things about Nevis because we only saw Nevis Peak. Hello, good morning.
Good morning,
Hi,
Azard.
yes, morning. Yes.
I'm going to put in my 2 cents, my 2 pence hipney. Okay?
Yes.
All right.
Now, PAM, People's Action Movement, had an event the same night of the Independence Parade. All right? I know, as Azard told me last night, typically it's on that night.
Yeah, it's always been on that night. It's always been on that night. It has never
always
changed.
On that night. But I am saying, there's a lot of divisiveness that happens here in Ireland. So you're opening up a kind of worms here when you're talking about the fact that the drone did not depict. I didn't even think about it. I mean, I was just in awe of the whole drone thing.
Me too, Carla.
But I did not think about it. But what I did think about is why didn't the People's Action Movement choose not to have that event as they normally have and put it to a different night so that everybody could have been together.
Okay.
You know, I just feel like, you know, People's Action Movement and the whole crew over at a hotel having their thing, and then you have the rest of the people in the park for this major event. To me, you know, the optics, I just didn't like that. I personally speaking, I think it would have been nice if everybody was in the same place. So I think that y'all missed the boat on that.
Okay.
Because
So let me say this.
like,
Let me,
you know, is away from it all. So why complain if the drone did not have Sir Kennedy in it? I don't understand. Were they part of the planning committee?
Okay, let me say this.
I didn't even.
I didn't want to get into it. Yes.
But thank you for your contribution.
Thank you for your
Carla.
contribution. Let me say this.
Thank you.
The dinner that was hosted by the People's Action Movement is an annual event that happens every September 18th for the
Regardless of the day
for
that
the
it
last
falls
for
on.
the last 20 years, because it's a tradition within the party for us for members to usher in independence. That has always been the tradition. Let us recognize also that the planning of the ball will have been done even months before any announcement of the actual event being done at night, the drills.
So what would have happened if Sir Kennedy had to be there to do a speech or a walk or an inspection?
Well, we make accommodations for that, just like when we had the breakfast with Sir Kennedy, and they said that they're going to do something at National Heroes Park. Sir Kennedy was at National Heroes Park and then came to the breakfast, even though the breakfast supposed to start at 9, and then he was then invited to National Heroes Park for event at 8. We accommodated. He went to there. When it was over, he came. And so accommodations could have been made. But let's just not forget the point that the dinner was something that was planned months in advance, something that has always been a transition. And so it is also, an event that has been planned. When you look at the independence calendar and the fact that the display was done at the evening, that's something that was made known to us in recent time. You can expect having contractual agreements between parties, and when I say parties, not political parties, individuals, at the spur of the moment to end that, especially when you've been advertising and selling tickets on a particular date. So it would have caused, at that moment, you had to drop our plans. If it is that, the accommodations would have been made that even after the ball, you could go to the activity. So it really, too, could happen at the same time. That doesn't take away from the fact, though, that in the planning of it and in the drone message, you leave out Sir Kennedy. Sir Kennedy is alive, and can you hold on? Sir Kennedy is alive. We all know for it to be a fact that Sir Kennedy Simmons was our first prime minister. He was the one when the first independence celebrations were done, he was there standing, he gave the speeches. He's still alive. He has been alive for the past 40 years of independence. So every independence that we celebrate, Sir Kennedy has been alive and been a part of the festivities. So if we're celebrating persons in the past, why can't we celebrate persons who have contributed and presently with us? Sir Kennedy Simmons. So when I saw that being left out, I thought to myself, wow, we missed an opportunity to include the man who actually ushered in independence. But I said, we're having a joyous time here this morning, so I said, let me leave it alone until someone actually brought it to my attention again, and I said, perhaps I should touch it.
It would have been nice for that person to call in, and I think we have a call right now. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. My 2 cents is, Candy, I think you were asking if Azard wanted mention, or you were saying that Robert Bradshaw was the first premier, if we needed to mention that Kennedy Simmons was the first prime minister. It's not about that.
No, I asked him where we should have placed him.
No, right, but to me, it's obvious. And if they're going to say that Robert Bradshaw initiated talks, that is what the drone speech, this is the thing said. Robert Bradshaw initiated talks about independence. And the very next thing was the hoisting of the flag. That gives the impression that that he is the one who brought it to fruition, which is totally not correct. And so they needed to insert, right after what they said about Robert Bradshaw, the fact that Sir Kennedy, our living national hero, only living national hero, was the one who actually brought it to completion or to fruition. I mean, that's not rocket science, and to me, it's deliberate, and it doesn't look good. You're trying to rewrite history. You're trying to overlook the contribution of who actually brought us to independence. That is how it came off to me. And as I had already explained about the fact that the ball is always kept, and it would planning would have been in motion already. So to Carla's point about, yes, we could have gone, to the park, but that the plans for independence or the schedule and the fact that the parade would be in the night, that only came out, what, a week before or something?
I think we had people on the show 2 weeks before.
I don't think it was as fast.
Yes, we had Leah and somebody else on the show.
Wait 2 weeks to plan the ball,
was it Crystal on the show 2 weeks before?
I won't say it was 2 weeks, Candy.
Yes, but even if it was 2 weeks, it would not have been enough
caller,
time.
speaking from a planner's perspective, I think I can contribute to that. Of course, you can't wait 2 weeks to plan a ball. I've done several events of all nature, so I know what you're referring to. My whole contention is, personally, I'm happy that they put the parade at night because the heat during the day is insane. So for me,
agree.
that night parade bit was amazing. Now, I want you to finish your contribution so that I could, say mine.
Right.
So are you?
I just wanted
okay.
I just wanted to address where it should have gone in, and you cannot go from saying Robert Bradshaw initiated talks about independence, whatever that means, and just the raising of the flag.
Awesome.
No, you have to say the fact that Sir Kennedy Simmons, who is alive, the only national hero, is the one who brought it to fruition, and that is a fact. It's a fact. So why leave that out? Anyhow, that's my contribution.
Thank you,
Thanks
Carla.
for your contribution. Okay, can I talk now? Because you've kind of had like a couple minutes, right?
Go ahead.
All right. Awesome. Perfect. So my whole thing with this is, I see your point, and I see where they could have fit him in. What I also noticed when I was watching the parade was that I thought maybe they could have added a few more things about Nevis, right? So I only saw Nevis Peak. Can't remember what else they depicted, right? So my thing is, if we're going to start nitpicking, right, then everybody going to have something else that should have been added to it, because one of the symbols I saw, I didn't quite understand it, and maybe somebody can tell me what it was, but it was like a crescent moon and a star, and they had something extending out of the star. That kind of reminded me of a Islamic symbol, right? So I couldn't figure out what that was. Maybe it's just me. Maybe somebody can call in and tell me what that symbol meant, but it was lost on me, right? But we're always going to find things that could have been added, that could have been eliminated. But to your point, that's why I asked you where we would have put it. So after we would have said the first premiere, then we could have said our first national hero, or I think I've seen a slogan going around saying the father of independence, so we could have put him in there. So I do see your point. I can acknowledge that, but I just don't want us to start nitpicking at every single thing. That's where I'm at.
Before you go there, and before we have the caller, I don't think it's a matter of nitpicking, because this is a individual who was the first prime minister. He's the individual who ushered in independence. So it's not a matter of nitpicking. This is a gross disrespect for an individual who is alive and can see the fact that in celebration of independence in its 40 years, that you have neglected to include him in the celebration or the acknowledgement from the government aspect. And I think that is a gross disrespect.
I feel, and you know how I feel on this, because I've said it since before with national. Oh, we have a caller? Oh, hello, good morning. Sorry, we didn't know you were online.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to say, right, first of all, that I do not want to nitpick. What I would like us to take away from that is, from all the happenings around this 40th anniversary, is that we need to get away from this divisiveness. Too many times when one party is in, they leave out things for the other and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So we have another hundreds of years that we will continue into independence. It is time for us to put that aside so generations to come do not have to deal with it.
Okay,
It's
Mr.
very
Stefan.
sad that we had a whole year
More
to plan
unity, less
independence.
politics.
But Mr. Stefan,
More
Mr.
unity,
Stefan,
less politics.
Mr. Stefan, this is it, right? We can't make changes if we don't acknowledge when changes are to be made. For example,
No, acknowledge the past.
no, what I'm saying, there was no inclusion of Sir Kennedy or even Simeon Daniel, who both were individuals who helped to usher
I
in
agree.
St. Kitts and Nevis.
I totally agree.
But-
it is only now that you all mention it that I can see it.
Yeah, and that's why. And
I can see it. I can see where you all are coming,
and
but
that
I am
is-
just making a point about the fact, because I'm sure when the People's Action Movement was in, and maybe we celebrated 10 years, Labour may have been making noise about something that was left out or blah blah blah. I can't remember, but I think I was around.
okay,
Additionally, before I get off the phone, to answer Candice, that sign, I believe, came from the original flag. I think, if my memory serves me right, someone can all. I believe
it was a palm tree,
the
not a
question is-
crescent.
Just
the
tell me what
family.
it- No,
So I don't know what
got
it meant.
screenshots
Okay.
of
I
the-
thought maybe it came from
the
something,
drone show.
some other flag that they once had.
okay, Miss Stefan, before you leave, I want to ask you a question. No one would know, everyone, unless you say something unless you point out something that's wrong or something that should have been included, no one would know that it ought to have been included. For example, you said you look at the drone show and only now you realize of the, every time you speak about something that should be done or ought to have been done or included, it is seen as, oh, you guys are being negative. No. What you're trying to do is highlight something that has gone wrong that you think should be corrected. And the only way you could do that is by speaking out. And so now we can move forward. And now in the future, we can speak about how it could be improved. But without that initial discussion, without that initial acknowledgement, then
so we
such
on
a
the
discussion
same
could not
thing,
have been
because
had.
It is time for us to put all of these, things put things in place so that this sort of thing doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm so
again.
glad
I
you
saw a
mentioned
meme
Sir
on
Simeon
Facebook
Daniel.
last night. Why are we talking about who is the father? Somebody created some meme about the father, who really is the father of independence and so on, because it is like fatherhood. So I think someone said maybe DNA or something like that.
You are the father, right? But listen,
Yeah, precisely. So,
on Independence Day, Carla, on Independence Day, Sir, the Right Honorable Denzel Llewellyn Douglas made a post saying the Right Excellent, Right Honorable Sir Dr. Kennedy Simmons, first Prime Minister, ushered in our independence September 1983. Happy Independence 40. I don't know if this is a real, what do you call it? A real
Carla,
profile?
Yeah, it's a real profile.
But if Dr. Denzel Douglas can say that, then it means that we're all on the same page and we know who ushered in independence. So to your point, Azard, yes, there should have been an inclusion in the drone show, and that's why I asked where we would have placed it after the first premiere, then Sir Kennedy, then the flag. Fine. But then I also mentioned that then if you're going to say that that was missing, then shouldn't there have been more things about Nevis? They showed Nevis Peak, then
Absolutely.
there was nothing about Sir Simeon Daniel. There was nothing about any landmark that we have in Nevis. So, I mean, we're always going to find something.
No, but I think for you to highlight those things, it's making the point that I'm making seem very trivial. You have the first Prime Minister, and I don't want to trivialize the point. You have the first Prime Minister, you have the person who was there when independence was done. You have Simeon Daniel also, both persons there, and you have a total no mention of that person. That cannot be anyone who planning can. That's gross disrespect.
Call. Let's take this call. Island T, you're on.
Good morning. Happy Independence.
Thank you. Same to you. Good morning.
Now, what happened was deliberate. When you're planning the drone show, you must have drawn up your sketches as to what you want to produce. Isn't that so?
Yes.
The thing is deliberate. The Bible talk about can the leopard change his spot and the Ethiopian his skin? That's it. And as the people say, it is Simeon Daniel and Dr. Kennedy Simmons. What happened to Nevis? There would have been no independence without Simeon Daniel too, you know.
Okay, then.
Because that is why Mr. Bradshaw had all his plans made. And Simeon Daniel said no. So when we're trying to create history, Mr. Bradshaw died 78,
1978.
And his plans for independence could not have been fulfilled because Nevis decided, even the British were pushing them. Say, look, go and then 18 months come back. And if you want to go, you go. That was Mr. Bratchaw's plan. So this deliberate thing, trying to make Mr. Bradshaw the one who took us to independence, they're doing him a dishonor. You're not honoring him, all you're doing creating confusion. And as to who is the father of the nation, maybe we need to vote on that. It don't make any sense to intelligent people. Intelligent people don't hold this kind of discussion. Who was the man who took us into independence?
Kennedy Simmons.
Kennedy Simmons and Mr. Manny Nevis,
Simeon Daniel.
both of them, you know. So when you got all this going down by statue in St. Paul's and planning at the last minute, they plan to go over the National Hero Park. Everything is deliberate. But what they don't understand.
Gasoline.
but if
this
you
is not
don't
gasoline.
talk about
I tell you,
it,
the Bible says, can a leopard change its spot?
I don't think it's adding gasoline.
Because she said the last
No, it's
minute thing
deliberate.
by Heroes Park.
But it wasn't.
How do we know it was
It was
last
not
minute?
on the
It was not
calendar.
on the calendar.
Everything
It was
that
not on the
happened was on the
because there were
calendar.
many
No.
prominent Labour people
But
saying
if it's
they
such
should
a-
not go over there. And I'm sure you heard that.
Yeah, we listen. You know we had a whole calendar
You're
discussion in
deliberate.
here.
Yes, Candy. But if
Because
something,
we were all saying, what's going on here?
But it's-
Why
I'm
they're not
Glad
going
you
to
know.
hear? I
It only
myself,
came up after.
I
Even remember
Candisie
the
said,
lady
why
who
aren't
came
we
said
going
she
to
did not
Heroes
know.
Park?
but what
the
I'm
lady
saying,
who came to talk on the show said she did not know about it.
I think Azard and I asked, what about Heroes Park or
I
something
said
like
she
that?
don't know.
she
Right.
didn't make any mention
She
of
don't.
it.
Right.
And
She is
So we're
advertising.
assuming
She's
that it was
advertising the
last
functions
minute.
and don't about the one over there.
We have-
It is deliberate.
we
but
have
Dr. Jew,
we have
do
strong.
not follow talking to the Prime Minister now.
Yes, go ahead.
Do not follow those old people who believe that sex belongs to Labour and Nevis is somehow a colony of Saints. You are perpetuating that kind of a feeling.
Let me tell you what someone
But,
sent me,
but
right?
even before you got there, let's move from the calendar. If you're planning a calendar and national heroes recognition is so important to you, would you miss it from the calendar? If it's such an important event, why would that
Before I go,
event
let
be
me tell you
missed?
something else. So Joseph and Fran's birthday is the 16th.
Of what month?
The very same day with Mr. Bradshaw. And they don't say it.
Wait, the 16th of what month? I'm sorry, I don't know.
September, National Hero Day is Mr. Joseph and Fran's birthday.
And
he
Sir
was in the
Bradshaw's
movement
birthday?
before Mr. Bradshaw.
So both of them, their birthdays on the 16th?
Yeah, do you hear them mention Mr. Franz?
I didn't even know it was Bradshaw's birthday because I don't
That's
think I
a
ever
case
heard
of
them
the
mention
leopard
that.
and the spot.
It's his birthday? But nobody ever says
Yeah,
that.
you didn't know that?
No, I did
I
because
am
that's what
from
I'm
the
saying. I've
village.
never heard them say that though. That's his
That's what I'm
birthday.
telling you. The elevating one and,
No,
and the
I didn't
mountain
mean-
ignoring the other one.
I didn't mean,
I am a villager.
I didn't
Born
mean
villager.
JNF. I didn't mean him. I meant I
That's
did
what
not
I'm telling
know
you.
it was RLB's birthday
They
either.
make no statue for him. He was in the movement before Mr. Bradshaw.
I mean he don't have a statue. They have
He
statues
don't.
He lasted the longest.
in the Heroes
But maybe that's why
Park.
he lives so long. You know, he lived into his 80s.
Don't they have statues in the Hero Park?
She meant
A separate statue?
separate statute. Yeah.
Oh, so everybody
You
should have a
notice
separate statue.
Mr. Southwell got one and Mr. Bradshaw got one? Not
Sir,
even on his
Sir
face.
Simeon Daniel has a bust in the middle of Charlestown.
And poor Joseph and France have nothing. God bless the Hero Park. People get to see what he
I was
looks
just
like.
about to say that. They have 5 of them in the Heroes Park. Oh my God. We're doing the nitpicking again. Stop.
This ain't a nitpicking. This is leopard
nitpicking.
spot.
They have 5 statues in the Heroes Park.
But it's not nitpicking because the reason.
Listen to me. When they put one down St. Paul's and one up the pasture, where is Mr. France?
Who put
That
them?
is
Okay, who put
deliberate.
them? So who did the
Labour
bust
put
in
them.
Charleston?
NRP.
NRP did the bust in Charleston, right? Is that what you're saying?
Nevis because they ain't getting no recognition down here.
Ay, ay, ay.
But Candy, I think
I have 2 comments I want to
you're
read.
trivializing the fact
I'm
by
not.
saying
I
that
am
it's
just
nitpicking.
hoping. I
All
really
I am
want
saying-
us to focus on the historical aspect and
But
not
the
make
his-
it political.
but the historical
so I've already
aspect-
acceded. I've already said that I agree. I'm
Mm.
actually the one who said where Sir Kennedy should have been. Let's not miss that point.
Well, I leave
So
out Kennedy part,
I
because that
actually
is
said,
obvious, but I
okay,
am
after saying
saying-
RLB, they should have put Kennedy and then the flag. So I can accept that. I also want it on the record that they should have included more things about Nevis, right?
What you accept on
Now,
Heroes Day?
in relation to what? I was the first
Mr.
person in here that
Franz
said,
and
why
Mr.
aren't we going to
Bradshaw.
Heroes Park? And then we
Mr.
saw it
Bradshaw
come
and
out.
Mr. Bradshaw and Mr. Franz both have the same birthday. not
I
the
would
same
have
date.
never known that until you said that. Honestly, I
That's
did
what I
not
mean.
know.
Shouldn't
Listen,
we
the
have
only
known
birthday
that?
I know on Heroes Day is my godson. I'm sorry.
Well, now you know. Now you know. And
Thank
to all
you.
of the planners in the Labour Party, Mr. Joseph N. France, but they the same, and all the children and the old people who don't know, and every year I said the same thing.
Listen,
Total disrespect for the man.
let
Yeah.
me
Everywhere.
read these 2 comments, right?
Uh-huh.
So someone
All
said,
right, then I go on.
thank you. Someone said, an usher is a servant who seats people at but has no control over an event. So they think that the post that Dr. Douglas made was kind of an insult, saying that Sir Simmons was the usher for independence, like ushered in independence. So that's one. And then the other one says, it is very unfortunate that something that is of such significance has now become a political issue. This is how I feel. You have the extremists, the zealots, etc., from each side wanting to make the point and have everyone hear their voice. But the truth of the matter is, majority of us just want to hear about a lovely show. Many of us are honestly just fed up of the Labour PAM back and forth. And I think before I even saw this comment in its entirety, that's what I literally just said. Like, I don't like it being political because at the end of the day, we all have to live together. Yes, I acknowledge that they should have put Sir Kennedy in. I also think that they should have made more mention of Nevis. But at the end of the day, can we not appreciate that it was a difference, that it was a good show, that it was a move away from fireworks and into technology, that it was something that we've never done, and it's gone down in the annals of history as the first drone show for our 40th independence? Like, why are we missing all of this? Because we're focusing on the politics of it. And I don't take for granted, because I see you over there, I don't take it lightly that they did not include the who we're terming as the father of independence and our first national hero, or only, not our first, our only living national hero. I don't take that lightly, because, and you know how I feel on that. So it's not politics for me. For me, I think when it comes to independence, that we should embrace and portray the whole motto, country above self, and we should put forward what is historically correct.
Let me ask you a question. If you go to a restaurant and the customer service is poor, terribly poor.
You already know. You know
if
me.
you go to a restaurant,
You don't even have to ask me that.
If you go to a restaurant and the customer service is very poor, they bring you food, but they slap it down on the ground. If you go there and you sit down and they even say, good evening, how are you doing? If you go there, but the food is amazing. The food is amazing.
How would I
but
know?
the customer service is poor. They treat you as if you are nobody. Would you go back to that restaurant?
Would I stay?
Okay. So
you know me.
So what I'm saying, yes, the Jones show in what it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Yes. But we cannot say, and I don't like when people say you are political, you're making it political, because history is history. And if you're going to recognize individuals for what they are doing, then recognize all, not just some. And so to not include someone who was so significant in independence, who was there during independence, who has been there for every Independence Day. So Kennedy has been there since 1983, our first independence, to now, 40 years.
And still here.
And still here. And so what I'm saying, yes, the drone show was beautiful, but not because the display was beautifully done means that we should ignore the fact
The inaccuracies.
that it was inaccurate, and it didn't, and to say that and to highlight that, and to say that, highlighting that as being political, I don't think so, because then any criticism that is laid against a sitting government becomes political. And so, are you not to criticize? Are you not to recommend?
No, not at all. Not at all.
And so,
did you see anything else that was eliminated from the show that should have been there? That's anything else that was missing other than Sir Kennedy?
Well, I'm saying I have mentioned what I think. I said it was a beautiful show.
But did you see anything else that might have been not historically inaccurate or missing from the show? Did you notice anything else?
I didn't really notice anything else right now, having looked at it. But I don't think that not noticing anything else trivializes the point that I'm making, because I think that this is a glaring bias. It ain't even something that you could miss, because this is the individual who was there during independence. And it doesn't happen just only at the drone show. So persons are saying, I know Ms. Sasafan called in earlier and she spoke about not being included. But if you are being disrespected, and you feel as though you're being disrespected on so many occasions, and I'm not speaking for Sir Kennedy, I'm speaking perhaps for even supporters of the party, you understand? If you feel as though you can't disengage a certain population, and then during the time of disengagement say unity and unification, you can't continue to disengage a certain population of people or a certain group of people and then say, hey, we invite you to this.
Then you're misusing the word, right?
So, and what I'm saying and showing you the way in which the government has chosen to celebrate independence by ignoring the individual and persons who would have contributed to independence. You can't say, well, let's not make it political, but in itself, the government is pushing a political agenda, or seem to be pushing a political agenda. So I think there lies a problem. If everything was across the board, equal to all, government playing at a neutral basis and giving a neutral stance, and then someone makes it political, then I think that is where the politics comes in, and when it ought not to come in. But if government is leading a political charge, and then if you criticize that, you're saying that those persons who criticize are being political, I think that's wrong. I think that's unfair to say.
Okay, guys, 3 minutes after 9 o'clock. I don't see the doctor. I don't have...
Honey, it's Wednesday. What doctor are you looking for?
Oh, I was looking at the wrong. Sorry,
He is
not the
still
doctor. No, not the
celebrating
doctor. Troy. Yeah. Okay, let's take a break. I don't
We
see
won't have farm report today.
no farm report.
No
today.
farm report.
Okay. And
Everybody's still recovering from independence.
trust me, the phones are going crazy. So let's take a quick break.
Yeah, then we take the
and then we
calls.
come back. Yeah.
All right, then, perfect.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Enjoy your summer with the Bank of Nevis Limited. It's that time, and the bank has the perfect summer loan package for you. Take a vacation, enjoy a staycation, advance yourself academically, or prepare your children for back to school. It's your choice with up to $30,000 unsecured loan with an attractive low interest rate. Additionally, up to 5 years to repay. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Offer ends September 30th, 2023. Bond strong.
is your celebration.
Celebrate the savings with TDC Home and Building Depots. Shop in store and online at shoptdcgroup.com. All TDC Mega Reward members save 20% off selected items in various categories. Not a TDC Mega Reward member? You save 10% off purchases. Show your independence. Go where the savings are. Everyone's favorite retail store, the TDC Home and Building Depot.
Yes, this is 50.
Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Yes, sir. We're back.
We're back, and Candy had to step out.
Yeah,
So
6
just
minutes. Yeah.
You and I, Jamster, and the
Yeah,
callers.
906.
Yes, we have any callers?
Put my boxing gloves on.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's an interesting time.
Let's go to the phone. Caller, go right ahead.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
And I hope everybody enjoy the independent. But you was a biased one, eh? And me tell you, so like me, a leopard never change this spot yet.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, went to Nevis here. And the show over there was nice. It was nice, but the organizers, them in Nevis, got to get away from these Jamaican vulgar artists. What we want is singers, conscious singers. You know, nice hear the sound to hear Jimmy Cliff over Nevis for the Freedom Concert. Jimmy Cliff and Banky, local, and you bringing in from us in there with the Joe. You know, we got to know to do things to bring a country together. Our Prime Minister, he's doing a very good job in dividing this country. And he don't got to go, you know, because he wasn't the rest of them. He don't got to go. We don't can't work with this. 40 years. Bring the people together, Jamster. 40 years independence, you know. That was a perfect opportunity for that vagabond boy to bring this country together. Perfect opportunity. Now look the happenings were going on. I don't see that in Jerry Clark when touch his daughter to he whenever he had the Prime Minister. Where the call it thing there?
The Independence Lecture Series.
The lecture series. Jaya with button. Politics. That girl got serious problem in Timothy, you know. Timothy, way ahead, you darling. If you want to learn the job, you got to go down on your knees and listen and beg him to teach you something, you know, because I might be bright, but I out of this thing. Way out of this thing. The Prime Minister doing nothing but dividing the country. And I put him in the vagabond bracket. He's a vagabond. For what he do and allow. You look at Glenway Blanchard in a church. But back when it's there, say you're going over there in all white like them. There must be the angels them in all white. Is that you come down here to the Nevis people? But you're going to go to. Have a good day, Jamster. Another.
Yes.
My good friend called that and he. My good friend called that and he. Have a good day.
Thank you for your contribution, Jamdong. So we have, since independence, we've had 4 prime ministers of an independent St. Kitts and Nevis, the first being Sir Kennedy Simmons, second being Dr. Denzel Douglas, third being Timothy Harris, and fourth being Terence Drew. These are the leaders who have led the building of an independent St. Kitts and Nevis. So when we are looking at independence and looking at our leaders, let's recognize everyone, regardless of political affiliation. All of them have contributed.
Island T, you're on the air. Go right ahead.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hi, good morning.
How are you guys doing today?
We're good. We're good. Have you been listening to the discussion?
Yeah, Hazard, I've been listening.
Awesome.
You're gonna know who I am when I've said it.
Oh! I know who you are now.
Yes.
I don't have to say. I know.
My concern that we have as a people is the fact that we tend to blame and then do the same thing when we find ourselves in the position. 40 years, will it change? I can't even say if it will. Because I don't know if the next Prime Minister and his group in the future will do anything different. But what I've said, and I posted it in your box just a while ago,
yes,
all of our parties have made enough mistakes to make everybody blind. I like the fact that we would have changed to a drone show to depict our change over the years, the intelligence of our people. Did it miss Dr. Simmons? Did it miss Mr. Sim Daniel? Did it miss anybody else? It's going to be debated for a while.
It's
what I have this morning is a problem.
Before you go on, that's not even a debate. It did miss it.
But that's why we're debating it, because if it wasn't included, we're going to debate it. So we're going to say, okay, it should have been done.
Yes,
right?
and being clear, if we are all in support that it should have been done, then there's no need to debate it.
Okay, so it's debated, and we have come to the one thing that it should have been included, but the other things should have been included, like Candy asked. But what I have, though, is the fact that your show must do something for us. One caller went down the road to say, we all know who that party is, lepers don't change his track. But I could take the same comment and put it to another party or other parties. One caller just referred to the Prime Minister as a vagabond. We need to step on those things if we want to encourage collaboration and unity. We have to. So we can't debate on one thing that is missing, but miss these deliberate jabs at people or the nation. I sang Think It's into Independence in 83.
Wonderful.
I was there. You understand? So I know what it feels. I know the glory. I know what it feels. I remember the cup, the drinks, whatever we did.
So
in the park.
let me ask you. So you were there when independence, when we had our first independence
Yes, I was
day.
just going into high school.
You heard the speeches made?
Yes.
Who made the speech?
Well, who would have made it except the person who was giving ushering the independence?
And that was who? Who was that? Who was that who gave the speech, the first independence speech?
Dr. Kennedy Simmons.
So you were there and you saw it, right? And so that's what we're saying, that he should be included in independence celebrations because, you know,
we need, and I agree, but we need to understand the history of St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis did not just start at independence. We also have to give our kudos to those persons who helped before, whether Bradshaw, whoever.
And I take the point, and Bradshaw was included in the Jones show, so he was recognized. But the person,
yeah, but I'm not talking about the Jones show because, as I said, we have made enough missteps to make ourselves blind.
Okay.
You understand? And that's why I said I don't want to rehash the history of what the parties have done and the omissions they have done in the past. But I don't want us to go down the road to say, oh, well, we know who this party is, so that's going to happen. Because I could say the same thing about PAM. But I've come to the realization that without each other, St. Kitts and Nevis will never exist. And a lot of us need to accept that.
But
and other people don't want to.
But let me ask you a question, right? Political parties are going to be political parties. They're going to support their members. But I believe that government, whoever is in government, should take a neutral stance. It's a time when you put down that political hat and you become the representatives of St. Kitts and Nevis, all citizens, not just some citizens. And so when you have an activity like independence, that's when you put on the political hat and then you recognize all.
We agree on that. I saw a change of a government in 2015 under the name of Unity, and I really felt that things would change. I don't want to go through the history of what I saw and the way it ended.
But let me ask you something.
Purpose got together, it would have changed.
Let me ask you something. So if something is going on that should be corrected, and time and time again, different persons come and don't correct it, do you think, therefore, that thing that should be corrected you should remain silent on it or continue to speak until one day
When we
someone
remain silent,
actually
things normally tend to continue. It's best for us to talk.
So, and that's just what we're doing. We're talking, and I encourage persons to speak out, to talk, because it could be not change in the next year, could be not, but is that going to prevent me from speaking out against it if it's done next year?
Let me say this to you, since just for your history.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the wife of the first prime minister is from the village that I live in?
Okay.
No, I want to know if you know.
I was not aware which specific village she is from.
She's from Sadlers.
Okay.
Candy wasn't aware when the lady said that Nathaniel's parents' birthday was the 16th. What's the relevance of me saying this? Is that we are selective.
Mm-hmm. But
his wife came from the community that I adopted.
Well, let's not go on what another caller said. Let's go on what I am saying. Yeah. And so I am saying,
so that's what I tell you.
I am saying
to see things and move forward.
I am saying that, and I've seen the whole independence celebration. You see it from the stamps. You have the 10-cent stamp, perhaps the lowest denominator. You have all national heroes on the 10 cents.
I followed you with that debate.
Yes, and then you have one national hero highlighted alone. He stands alone, and he's on the $100. Then you look at the national heroes activities that they have done. You see where they put focus in National Heroes Park, and then focus on two national heroes, one down by Sir Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw and one by C.A.P. Southwell.
I'm laughing as I say it, right? But I'm not laughing because I'm trivializing what you're saying.
I know.
But what if I said to you, okay, we unify
the
National Heroes Park and we put everybody there.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we also need to acknowledge, okay, this park with Bradshaw was started in his community.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you that it was trivialized and more or less forgotten for 7 years under one party or a government. But I don't want to go there. So I just want us to say.
But wouldn't you say? Okay, so before, let's just look at history. Before, there was the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw statute in St. Paul's. There was a bus for Southwell in Newtown. So those were the two.
Industrial side.
Yeah. So those were the two ones. Since then, that government or administration, whichever one you want to use, built a park that would recognize all, not just some, all.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was a park constructed to recognize all, wouldn't you think that therefore that government was trying to recognize all persons rather than just, one or two? And shouldn't that be the approach by government?
I agree.
And shouldn't that be the approach by government?
I hope you're not going to dwell in the part that you said that they wasn't going to do anything there, because as I said to someone, when I hear that debate, again by the lady, and I heard you saying it, I bought a ticket for a breakfast for $25. 2 tickets, as a matter of fact, for my dad, for the National Heroes Park, almost 2 to 3 weeks before the event. The farmers were planning it.
Yeah, but that's the farmers.
They were having something, so
that's the farmers.
I don't know why.
That doesn't have to mean the government.
But it was the government. It was for the event that was going to be kept back in Connery.
Okay, let me say this, and let's look at the calendars. If you're going to do an independence calendar, you're going to highlight all the events that come to your mind on that calendar, right, at the point in time.
Yes.
And you will highlight all those which are significant that needs to be highlighted, that are planned in advance.
You know what I'm going to do?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to agree that it should have been spelled out and everything should have been said. This is going to be here and whatever time, because it was done for 4 o'clock for Bradshaw or for Southwell. And I will say, do I apologize? I can't, but it should have been done.
Okay.
Because I hear it a bit. I guess in the future, when government again is doing it, they could spell it out so people could know, hey, everybody, we're going to be here at this time or that time.
Yes, and if we fail to highlight the inaccuracies and we fail to highlight things that should have been better, and we are silent about it, then it leaves the room open for it to happen again.
I'm going to give you this challenge. I hope I'm alive. Maybe if you do win a seat, I'm going to keep it to these things, because we tend to when politicians get elected, they forget everything.
Well,
we're going to fix. Do you want to do this?
Well,
Better.
if such ever happens, the recordings are there, and I will be reminded of what I have said.
I'm gonna say this before I hang up and to the federation. In 1983, 82, while we were in grade 6, there was a poem called Tomorrow. We need to stop. Let's stop the finality, but some lines in it said this: we're going to be a better person tomorrow. It didn't say today. And I think we would have studied that poem and competed on it at that time. But we really need to fix things today, not tomorrow. And every government, including mine, we need to fix things today. All of us, we need to fix things today, not tomorrow.
Thank you, Carla. And I thank you for being so open and, accepting and agreeing on points. I thank you for that.
That's how we need to be.
Yes.
Have a good.
You likewise. Thank you so much.
Okay, we did have another call coming in, but I guess hopefully they'll call back. It's 9:20. Okay, let's take this call. Island T, you're on, and happy Independence.
Good morning, Jamster. Good
Hi,
morning.
what's up? Hi.
Second host.
Yes.
I like strong debates, but and people normally could get to be passionate and so on about what they speak to, the subject and the issue. And I rather like that if someone miss out on something and giving credit to someone and praising to someone, and they did not do it, I think most likely you can do it yourself. You don't have to wait on somebody to do it. You can blow your own hand, blow your own trumpet, and there's some things that are planned that might not go the way we want. At the end of the day, I don't like the idea of people calling people names. Rather than getting personal with people, we can't do that to each other. We have to raise the bar. We have to hold a level of standard and respect. In spite of who you are, Jamston, I may not like you. I may not like the things you do. But I should not be calling you names. I should be cautious when I speak of you and to you. And so, to use the words, quote, that the Prime Minister calling what name they call him, which I will not repeat. I don't think that should happen. As a matter of fact, at the end of the day, he is the Prime Minister. Vote for him or not, support him or not, he is the Prime Minister of St. Kitts Nevis. And the past Prime Ministers, they were past Prime Ministers. They held the office. And it's the office that belongs to us. And we need to respect the office and hold respect for even the officers who hold those offices. And so I think that I have said enough, but I hope that you guys will temper it down a little bit and say to people, choose your words carefully. Have a good day and have a happy Independence.
Thank you so much.
Let's
Thank
take
you.
another call.
Yes.
Island T, you're on.
Yeah, good morning, guys. How you guys doing today, man? Good morning.
Hi, good
Okay.
morning. We're wonderful. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, man, happy Independence again. And yo, man, we can make some noise or what? Jamster, we can make some noise.
Oh, I'm not following you.
We could make some noise for Azard today, man. Yo, Azard, put down your feet, man. You want to be the next Prime Minister? You put down your feet right now, bro.
I just believe that, we should give flowers to everybody.
Yeah. I want to really agree to this morning, man. And
Thank you.
this national debate, man. When these national debates come up, everybody got to be inclusive, man. It's not party, man. Party politics, is hindering the place.
It is.
It's making the place so tribal, and the people so polarized. You know what I'm saying?
And at the end of the
But,
day, when I see politics, I see it as a debate, a discussion, ideas, policies. Let's come together and see who has the best policy, and then vote on that, and then go back and celebrate together, rather than holding
definitely,
grudges.
man. Kennedy Simmons got to be included in that Joan event. That's a must. And I've been listening to this a little bit now, and the debate is coming up about who is getting credit for taking Cinques and Nevis into independence. What I'll say about that, maybe the Labour people want to give Batcher kudos for just bringing the thought forward and being the pioneer, but they can't take Simmons out of there. And if that's the case, man, Simeon Daniel and the Nevis hand was president when that move was made. So him and Kennedy Simmons, much negotiations had to be made, and they had to be done between both islands. So I know in that regard, Simeon Daniel has made a great, great, great contribution to that. And he was responsible for, making sure that Clause 113 stays in the Constitution for Nevis. And with that said, he too also got to be included. It can't be a national discussion and not include Nevis. We sometimes miss the we're missing the big picture sometimes, man. But if the Labour people want to say anything, this is what I will say to them: encourage your leader, Dr. Drew, to take that next step to Republic, and then at the end of the day, you come back to me and we can say then that Pam took the Federation to independence and Labour took the Federation to Republic. Then we will have a 1-1 slate. We'll have a 1-1 slate.
Yeah. Let's talk
All right?
about
and
development.
Different than that, man. Different than that. I want to mention something that I've heard, and I've seen on Facebook. They had an incident over in Cotton Ground, Nevis yesterday, and anybody that want to call in and talk about it, I believe it happened yesterday. It's about a color paint on a gazebo.
Yes.
The gazebo there was a green color, and I heard that some persons must have went there and painted blue, and it was a stir over there. Yesterday I think that was. If anybody want to call in and shed any light as to that was like a local incident that happened. But here we are on the Nevis side. We going on and carrying on about the color of the gazebo, and yet still we're not paying attention to the NIA debt, which is up to like $544.7 million. We're missing the big picture.
Yeah.
On the Nevis end, they got to get it together over there, especially in my village of Cotton Ground. But I do really want to mention that I stay with my villagers and I support them because I don't see who should have came there and painted that gazebo blue because the original color there was green. And to me, it doesn't matter what color it is, but I will stand with my fellow villagers with the stance that they made yesterday because in the village of Cotton Ground and St. Thomas's district, we haven't had any type of money spent on us politically. We've been ignored for some years now. We ain't had our roads done. Our heroes are not being recognized. Livingston Sargent, I know his son is in the studio, and I want to let him know his father needs to be recognized in the Cotton Ground village of Nevis. He was one of my personal heroes when I was growing up. And Derek Parry, Everett Sargent, and the like, Earl Sargent and the like, these guys set the foundation for some younger ones like me, especially in cricket and sports on the whole. And those guys were like my role models when I was growing up. And we need to recognize these guys in our own village. So I will take a stand with my villagers and, let the NIA government know, Cotton Ground and St. Thomas's Parish, we need some attention, And that's what I want to say about that. All right? And you guys, thanks, and have a good afternoon, and have a good day.
Thank you so much, Carlo. Thank you for your contribution. Yes.
Let's take another call. Okay. Well, okay, let's take the quick. Okay, we have a call.
Yes, let's hear the caller then.
Go on, caller. Island T.
Good day, folks.
Yes.
Hi.
Yes. I think as a practical step to end this impasse is for us to have, for the government to commission some sort of panel to get one version of our history, okay, including the things leading up to and including independence. Okay, one version that's in the National Archives as the version. It's taught to kids in school as the version and end the kinds of nuances and slights and so on that we keep having. It doesn't look well for us as a country. 40 years after independence, we're still having the same arguments, the same discussions as 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It makes absolutely no sense.
Yes, agreed.
And the thing is, there are people who are just unrepentant. There are people who would tell you that, well, when we went into independence, we were united as a country, that we had full discussions on it. Well, I remember being in those attending those discussions, not so much taking part, but attending those discussions. And at points, it got extremely heated, okay? So much so that people got physical. And so things like that, obviously some nerves are still raw, and you can see it in the calls coming through, especially the older folks who remember the time as well, have their versions depending on their partisan politics. And so we have these things being perpetuated. So I think the time has come to have a non-partisan group that would look at this and come up with one version. If you can't find a non-partisan group, then have equal members from the contesting parties, because that is where the acrimony starts. From the contesting parties come together and they thrash out whatever differences they have there. Okay, but we can't keep going on like this into perpetuity. You know, it makes absolutely no sense. There are some things, I think, as a nation that should be non-partisan. When it comes, for instance, to something like constitutional reform, because a lot of this also hinged on, for instance, the kind of constitution that we have. When it comes to things like that, it has to end up in consensus, otherwise we will be forever divided. Okay? So as a first step, commission that panel of non-partisan people, or if you want it partisan, have equal numbers on both sides, let them thrash out the things, and then come to the nation with one version. Then we will be speaking with one voice. Otherwise, this is going to continue forever. That's what I think.
Thank you for your contribution, Mr. McMahon. And of course, there needs to be the truth, whether or not we get the truth, and who writes the story would always, if we are not careful, depict it in the way in which they want to see it. In addition to that, I want to say that I look forward where we could be politically mature to have discussions on things, and we are persons, even though they may support one party or the next, could stand out and agree.
Yeah, but we keep saying that, though, Azard. We keep saying that, but it never advances any further. Listen to some of the calls. You still see the acrimony coming out, okay? It's still there. And I'm saying that we need to take a practical step, not just wishing that it would happen.
But then the leaders of these parties should lead the way. I think if it is that, this was a perfect opportunity for this government to lead the way in uniting all. This was a perfect opportunity. I agree with you with that. I agree with you on that. Somebody has to take that step, okay? I agree totally with you on that. And really and truly, you're right. The onus must fall on the sitting government. You can't look back and say, well, they did it too, the others did it too. Or just throw your hands up and say, well, it will never happen because it will always be a partisan thing. Somebody has to have the vision and be enlightened enough to say, well, this has to end somewhere. I know there are people in my party who are not going to like this because they remember, as someone said, there's enough blame to go around on both sides or four sides or however many sides there are in the political fence. Lots of blame. Anybody can point fingers. Okay? But somebody has to bell the cat. Somebody got to take
the bull by its horns and decide this is where it stops, okay, and try to come to some kind of consensus, national consensus, on how we view particular things like our history, and this thing about the father of the nation, for instance. Why is it necessary to have that? Why somebody must claim that title? Because I don't think we're going to ever agree on what this term father of the nation means. Okay? A historical fact is the fact that Dr. Simmons was the first prime minister. Can't be erased. Okay? Also you can't erase also all the history that happened before and why we did not get independence earlier, etc. All those things, right? And I'm saying that rather than get bogged down with titles and so on, let's recount the precise historical facts, okay? Make sure it's documented. Make sure it's taught to the succeeding generation so that they don't have to go through what we're going through again, okay? 40 years of this is enough. You know, and I'm just saying that to start somewhere where we stop, record what actually happened, have one version of history. And by the way, that's not just us. Throughout history, there are different groups that will try to revise history, revisionists they call them, to suit their purposes. And that is what we're going through now. There are people with different agendas, and they try to write or recall the history as their agenda demands. Okay? But that is not necessarily the right thing. It's just their perspective. Okay? So we want something that is definitive, just like how we can say we got independence in 1993. That's a fact. Dr. Simmons was the first prime minister. That's a fact. There were people, including Robert Bradshaw, who paved the way for that to happen. Those are facts. And just end, this does not serve us well to unify the nation. And that is what I think we should be looking at. So something like, for instance, the committee or whatever was in place for the independence celebrations, that should have been non-partisan, right? Something like that. I can bet you, if, for instance, there were voices in that committee who were expressing the same views as Azard, this probably would not have happened where it seemed as if the first prime minister was shut out. It would not have happened because somebody would have been there to represent that.
Correct.
Right? And that is the place where the back and forth should happen. Not when we come to the nation as a whole. When we come to the nation as a whole as to what we're going to do to celebrate, that should be a unifying thing, okay? And we should not have been having these kinds of discussions.
Exactly.
It isn't everything simply because you're in government and you have the power to select who you want for who's going to decide what. That you use that power, okay? If you want to be inclusive and include other people, other voices, other perspectives. That is the way I think it should go. And then we would not have this public display of disunity. That's what I'm saying. That's my point of view anyway.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
Okay, let's take another call. Caller, go right ahead before we go to the break.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
No, you know what I love? What I love about Sir Kennedy Simmons is that no matter what, he is so humble. No matter what anybody do to him, he remain humble, quiet. He is truly a man of valor. And you know what? He know his worth. And we know his worth. So I want to say to Alphonse Simmons this morning, we love you no matter what. We know what you have done for St. Kitts, and continue to be that man of valor that you are until God say no more. Have a blessed day, Mr. Simmons. We love you. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for that call. Thank you
Let's
so much,
squeeze in this
caller.
one.
Yes.
Caller, go ahead. Caller, go right ahead.
Greetings, IT.
Hey, what's up?
I say the squeeze is mean. We can't take squeeze. Remember me mother, you know.
Nah.
You know, like as hey, as them on hold. Watch here. Watch here.
What you say? Tell me.
They want hold the 3 hours, you know. Remember, he's a politician, you know. There was one couple days ago, but me changed it because it look like certain disease just come from politicians. I mean, I want that disease that's not there. You know, we listen to the reason, man. We see in the ugly head a polite violence.
Yes.
We see in a lack of inclusivity. We see in the need for right choices. Yeah? Choice. Decision. Them words are coming in my head.
The right
Choice.
faces in the right places.
Yes, I. Because if the right faces, you know, because see, you last the caller before me. Oh, by the way, we want to extend our more heartfelt condolences to you, my brother. Yeah. The last caller made a point and said, if in that room of the committee there were certain faces that we are talking about would not be in the public. You understand?
Yes.
It would have trashed out there because in there would have been inclusivity. Yeah?
Correct.
Hey, no. You know, say, by the way, here we say from top of the veranda and look on the zone. What they call it? Joe? What the right name is?
Drone.
Jones.
Yes.
How it's spelled?
Drone. Well, you add the S for the plural.
Okay.
So it's with a D.
Yes. It was new and it was good, you know. We now go there in terms of the reasoning that goes along with it. We know the children them and the people them love to see them things there. Yeah, it's a good injection. And we will see them things here upping up in the future. Because technology getting to where you get it, you know.
Yes.
But we are dealing with people, you know. We are dealing with right, you know. The situation is pretty. We need to, just like the thing that we just talked about all the while with the nastiness. Because we walk about Independence Day. You know, we pick up emblems on the ground again. Where we pick up 2 emblems off the ground. We have them off the ground. Yeah. You know, we not. You know, the people that move walking to and fro, we pick up them and they're not still like my family, Miss Henry. They're not still so now. If the people in this state are in that physical state, then I would have said, okay, me the only one can see. So let me, you understand? People are still so people can see.
Yes.
And they on the ground. We pick up all the emblem. Oh, they want to move quick. I saw, don't cut me off. We go over Nevis, yeah? And we go taking the Freedom Concert. We want to make some comments. We want to thank them for continuing it. One the emblem we pick up was over in Nevis, you know, right between the Red Cross tent and the steps to go upstairs where the Honorable Premier was. And yeah, we pick up the emblem right up on the ground. And the thing is, throughout the show, some artists was asking to raise your emblem. There was a lack of that in the crowd. And just one emblem just be up on the ground. During the rain, we take a shelter at one time. Most of the time we take in the rain because we love it on the head. You know, it was nice. But one of the time when it started to pour out, we went inside the same tent, the Red Cross tent, and we sit down. And we just saw the people inside, they look on the phone and they're chat down. And then me go call the driver now because me say, well, okay. But, you know, him call me. Then me know him call him back. Because I didn't ready to leave. Me wanted to. The show started late. So it's still go on. We still want to comment about the warnings of the show. And it comes in right in forward to what we just said about decisions and choices. Me go in the tent and me sit down and me call and me talk to the driver and tell him, no, I said, me shelter man, he asked me if me go. Me tell him, yeah man, the dump was and me shelter you have to by the inside of the Red Cross. And me know well said that one of the ladies them in there, the blackest lady inside there, the rest of them is brown skin people. The blackest lady inside of the tent, the big fat black lady get up and say, look, call nobody in here. We will make you shelter, but no card. You man just jump on me like a wild beast. He said, lady, me just telling me the driver when me there, me calling nobody inside here because I got some youths running there for shelter and then tell them go. Probably they look at me and say, me, old man, I'm sorry for me and make me go on shelter. But the thing is, you man judge me. And the polite violence, she just chuck on me. You know what me do? Me say, lady, me sorry for your husband. She told me she finger and said she's not married. Me say, yeah. You can see that. I mean, walk out in the pouring rain. Walk away from that polite violence. And it's taking place in movies, you know. And this polite violence experience down to the bottom of the world to go up by the village. The village. A vehicle, 750G government vehicle. John from the town, we're going the other direction. And wake up me and some ladies just nice and wake us up. I got the number in here, you know, G750. I was later told by my driver that a ranking police drive that vehicle.
Wow.
Yeah. Me get to talk about these things right now. The show. Then rain start fall, get a blessing before, all the blessing. So, the organizers, we have people there, we see a certain past, California, who is part of the committee and the premiers there. People should be able to make quick decisions. Yeah? Choices. Right place in the right place. Because the rain will come, so therefore now, what you're going to do? You're going to make decisions right away to blend up the program. Then bring them to see Jamaica artists. Then just bring them on blaps. And you got some other artists. So what you should not do, make decisions right so to fit in some jump up artists between the Jamaica artists them and spice up the thing and make everything good. That the show now to draw out to going down to them in the morning, and in the morning now, right, even the people now to go walk. In the morning, when other artists on the stage, nobody there in front of them. So all the kind of niceness they race. And it happened all because of wrong faces in right places. Because people not making the right decisions. The right choices in terms of what they are doing. Wrong faces. Missing movies.
Okay.
Wrong places in right places.
Thank you, Carla, for your contribution. We're going to take a short break. And we'll come back.
Me. All right, my brother. Remember, the people them say...
Go ahead.
The lady said the credit done. Let us know.
So, we're going to take a short break. Thank you so much for your contribution.
kids, drink healthy.
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Fruta. Fruta full of vitamin thing. Real fruit juice, not full of vitamin. Pop open the goodness, just dive in. Fruta every night, fruta every morning.
It's the amazing taste and quality in fruit juice you've come to know and love. Anytime, anywhere, any occasion. Fruta is your tastier, better, healthier choice.
We got the vibes, fruta. Real, real nice, fruta.
And for the families, remember to pick up the 1 liter.
Rams the good food people, always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people. Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices. Rams is always here. We want your loyalty. Rams is always here. We are community. We are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me.
Okay, and we are back.
We are
It's,
back.
We got another call sitting here, so let's
Yeah. Call
let's
up.
head back to the phone line.
Mhm.
Oh, the person stopped calling, so hopefully they'll call back.
Yes.
Okay, so we got what 9 minutes left.
Yeah, let's talk about the Independence 40 reset. So the government of St. Kitts and Nevis they've set out this reset. It's Independence 40 reset, and so you have the workers, 1,000 EC dollars to contributors of Social Security Fund. Only pensioners and active workers who reside in St. Kitts and Nevis qualify. No registration required. Financed through savings from the Citizenship by Investment Program. You also have Building Materials Reset, Build and Thrive Incentive. It's the first time owner up to $500,000 for first time owners, up to 500,000 EC dollars, no import duty, no custom service charge, reduce VAT to 13% for 1 year from the date of project approval. It goes on to say for renovation and repairs up to $500,000, no import duty, no custom service charge, reduce VAT to 13% until December 31st, 2024. The land reset. So they have reduced annual interest rates from 12 to 6%, removal of interest built up on lots between 1998 to 2022. Period before interest is applied extended from 2 years to 3 years after land allotment. Also have the new landowners, the period to make deposit extended from 3 months to 6 months. So if you got land previously from government of St. Kitts and Nevis or allocated land from government of St. Kitts and Nevis, you'll have 3 months to make that deposit. They have extended it to 6. In addition to that, housing arrears reset. All NHC penalties on arrears eliminated. Outstanding mortgage balances reset to principal amount. Up-to-date NHC customers' interest on your mortgages will be frozen until March 2024. So we have the electricity arrears reset. Immediate reconnection for all residents, customers currently disconnected. For all are encouraged to pay regularly. For further information or assistance, contact Skelet for payment plans. And it says use electricity responsibly, conserve energy. And it also has the water arrears reset, immediate reconnection for all residential water services, for immediate reconnection for all residential water services department customers currently disconnected. All are encouraged to pay regularly. For further information, contact the Water Services Department for your payment plans. Use water responsibly, conserve water. And that's the Independence Reset. You know, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis on our 40th anniversary celebration, they have termed it Independence 40 Reset and given a number of benefits, the benefits which I have just read. And I encourage persons to take advantage of the benefits that have been afforded to you by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. Indeed, it's our independence. Let's celebrate as much as we can. Let's, you know, become united, and let's, as much as possible, try to charter and try to, you know, see the years coming as a united front, as much as is possible. You know, someone sent me something and it says, you know, the Right Honorable Sir Samuel Daniel, he said, and this person wrote and said that, you know, without the cooperation of Simeon Daniel and Sir Kennedy Simmons, there would not have been a federation as we know it today. Yeah, there would have been St. Kitts eventually, which would eventually become independent, and also Nevis, but separately. That's why this person chooses to recognize both gentlemen who truly made the impossible possible. There were talks at that point in time. I remember, you know, Nevis was, you know, at that point in time thinking about separating from St. Kitts and Nevis. And that is why when we look at the constitution that we have today, why so much leeway is given towards Nevis to govern its affairs.
I always think, though, that the country is too small for some of the let's say the, what's the word they use? Some of the duplication that happens, I think.
Yeah, of course, the Constitution is not perfect. It really needs some amendments. Some things really need fixing.
I mean, a country, island with 10,000 people, I'm sorry, doesn't need a premier. And boy, I'm going to get killed for this.
But these are some of the discussions we should have.
Because what I mean is, the government should be, for example, the parties should be national parties. So, okay, all 5 parties should contest seats on both islands.
That's an interesting thing.
And we have a prime minister and maybe a deputy prime minister. Maybe the prime minister should be able to come from either island. I don't think I've always thought this thing of, I mean, take for example, if we have double salary and you know, the premier has to find money to give double salary. So if the premier didn't have money, if they didn't have the money in the coffers, then it couldn't happen, because then, you know, it's only the people paid by the federal government. And then again, you consider the fact that St. Kitts doesn't have a local government.
Yeah, and you know, consideration has to be made, because there are some things that.
And then you have 3 governors basically.
Where you have
the lieutenant governor, and you have
no, you have one.
What do you call it? Governor's deputy.
Yeah, wait. You have one governor general.
You know what I mean? Come on.
Then you have You have the governor general's deputy, and then the deputy governor general.
Exactly.
All 3 function differently. But
why do we need 3 though? This is what I'm saying. This is I think there's a lot of money that gets wasted in this vanity project of a federation that we have, vanity government project.
And I take your point. There are some recommendations that should be made as it relates to our constitution, and you know, things that it's not a perfect document. I think what was happening during the time is that negotiations were being made to ensure that St. Kitts and Nevis were together as a united front, and that would have meant at the time, because I wasn't born there, but I could, you know, talk to persons who's there, and from the history that I've read, to ensure that St. Kitts and Nevis were together on this walk. And at that time, you know, that St. Kitts, Nevis, you know, the differences and, you know, the talks of secession and all of that. And whether the Constitution is perfect as it relates to St. Kitts and Nevis, I don't think it is. Whether there should be recommendations, yes, and that's why we should have constitutional reform. And that's why we should be thinking as a people, how can we make the Constitution even better as it relates to Sinkis and Nevis.
I mean, like, take for example, look at the duplication that happens with the two tourism authorities. That makes no sense to me from a fiscal standpoint and from a, well, just a governmental standpoint. Our country is 55,000 people working at, I don't want to say cross purposes. Well, you could say cross purposes because Nevis promotes Nevis and Saint-Kitts promotes Saint-Kitts and Nevis, which makes no sense.
But look at it this way, the tourism. You have the Nevis Tourism Authority, you have the Saint-Kitts Tourism Authority. Look at it at the seaport. You
That's
have
what I'm saying, yeah.
SCASPA, you have NASPA.
And they won, though?
SCASPA is different to NASPA.
Oh, no, customs. Oh, but customs is one, right?
Customs is one. But these are the things that we have to consider. But it's all about having really that mature discussion.
I mean,
and looking at
the electricity company. Why do we have two electricity companies? That makes no sense.
But, you know, these are discussions that we should have, and these are discussions that we should have going forward, and these are discussions that government should have with its people. And, you know, the two, because Nevis goes through elections so often, you know.
That again. Thank you.
Very
that again.
often.
Why can't they have the elections at the same time? In the U.S., you have federal, state, and local elections.
You know,
why
thought,
can't both?
I thought
why
to
can't
myself,
both be held at the same time?
Could there be a St. Kitts Island administration and a Nevis Island administration,
we
and
should
then
just,
a federal from the makeup of those who are there?
I just think you should have one government and everything. So basically, the Minister of Education is Minister of Education.
But
for
listen
both
what
countries.
I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying Nevis Island, St. Kitts Island, and then a federal structure whereby persons from the Nevis Island and persons from the St. Kitts Island fit into the federal.
No, that again is a waste of money. Why do we need?
You'll have one election.
You
could have one election between both of them where you elect them, and then from that election, persons are then brought forward for the federal. So I'm not saying that you have two separate elections. I'm actually saying one.
Yeah, I know. But
and then you select from those persons the federal.
A friend of mine actually, he floated an idea which I thought about, and I said, he was saying one other way they could do it is that he was saying that Bastyr could have a mayor. He thinks that we could possibly go a way of having, say, Charlestown has a mayor. So if you have a federal government, and I guess you would have a federal, maybe a local government for each, but Bastyr can have a mayor. But then again, I don't know.
I
still think the country is too small for
the country
to have local government at that level. It's just best if you have one. You just have one. Okay, you can have one federal government, and maybe Bastyr can have a mayor. Charleston.
But Jam, so what are you saying different to what I'm saying in terms of having?
I guess.
That's what I'm saying. You're probably saying the same thing I'm saying.
I didn't have any breakfast.
Yes,
so just coffee.
So, yeah, we could have the islands, both islands, and then from there you select the persons to serve on the federal. You'll have different powers for each, but then you have coordination, you know. But it has to be a discussion, and it has to come from somewhere. And the government is ripe, the government officials, and the persons in government, that's ripe for them to have a discussion and leading forward how that could be done.
Yeah, I mean,
recognizing that changes to the Constitution, some changes to the Constitution may require, would require the changes to be made as per the Constitution. And so we'll have to look at what the Constitution gives as to how the recommendations and amendments could be made. Because you have to follow the provisions of the Constitution to amend the Constitution.
Yeah, I maintain that the country is too small for all this governmental duplication.
Let's look at some of the things that we have accomplished, though, as a country since independence. You talk about the CBI, you talk about placing lights on the new Castle Airport for the first time, establishing early childhood education, the introduction of a 13-week maternity leave for women, introduction of school meals feeding program, the abolition of personal income tax, the establishment of modern telecommunications, the introduction of self-programs and supplied free textbook, the abolition of, which allow government to automatically terminate, the abolition of the law which allowed government to automatically terminate unmarried pregnant women, reducing the voting age from 21 to 18, the provision of a dull season payment to sugar workers. You look at legally secure and paid for sugar lands. And all of these accomplishments, would have happened from 1983 onwards. And much of these, if not all, would have been from the first Prime Minister, Sir Kennedy Simmons. And so we look at all the contributions that have been made by all the Prime Ministers, Sir Kennedy, Dr. Denzel Douglas, Timothy Harris, and Dr. Timothy Harris, and also Dr. Drew. We can't leave out any because all of them have contributed, and Dr. Drew is still contributing. And so we have to look at independence at a holistic approach, recognizing all prime ministers, all leaders, all people, regardless of political affiliation.
Okay. Clearly, we have to open the phones again tomorrow because the phones are going crazy over here. So
yes,
I'm kind of big on government waste and things like government paying rent all over the place when you have these complexes and buildings that could be refurbished, and that extends what I was talking about, governmental duplication.
Yes, we
I
have to
don't know.
streamline
Country
things.
is too small. It's not like we're the size of Jamaica,
or Trinidad.
Or Trinidad with island with 10,000 people talking about Premier. Sorry, Mark, but that's how I feel.
Well, guys, the discussion is there to be had, and so we can discuss it.
We can have a prime minister. The prime minister can come from either island. I don't care.
And that is why I said, if you have an island administration on both islands, and then you take those persons up to the federal.
No, we don't need two levels of government. The country is too small. That is too much. That is a waste of money.
You have not even.
This is my thing.
You have not even allowed me to explain in which the structure is going to be had. Because you still need persons to govern somewhat Nevis, govern St. Kitts, but on the federal level, some unification. So you have to understand, because I am sure there are some persons in Nevis would want some level of autonomy, and you can't ignore that fact.
So this is why the two islands will be on equal footing.
And that is why I suggested the island councils,
the ministries
and then the federal. From those,
the ministries could have the Nevis division.
So, for example,
both on an equal footing.
For example, in this structure that I have briefly highlighted, then you have the Honorable Premier Matt Brantley, who has control of the NIA, would have been on the island administration election and then elevated to federal. So, if you see how that structure would work, you would see persons in Nevis sitting on the federal government. And so that is why I'm saying maybe before you knock down that structure, it could be something.
But the first thing is that the parties should be national parties. Nevis Reformation Party should be the national
Well, you
Reformation
can't
Party.
necessarily.
Why not?
You can't tell a party.
Why not? I'm not telling, but I'm just saying.
We are to run.
It just seems very parochial that.
We are to run and which seats to contest.
No, but there's nothing stopping them.
You may suggest that should be the best. You may suggest
stopping them from running people in all constituencies.
You may suggest that they should run, but there's no mandate to run in all.
Mark is a dynamic guy. There's no reason he can't galvanize some candidacies in St. Kitts,
and that could be a discussion. And if they want
the same thing for
nothing prevents a party from doing that in a Johnstown.
I look at it, St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, but they may as well be called the St. Kitts Labour Party because they don't run anyone on Nevis. So what
But then when you look at elections too are expensive. And to I'm not talking just for government, for political parties as well. So think of it as a political party too, because the more seats you contest, the more resources you need to put in, the more money you need to raise. So it's all up for discussion, because political parties don't just get money out of the blue. So you still have to, as a political party, be able to have those resources. So it's discussions that must be had with the persons who are in the seats and who know what those points and
the point is we're having a discussion. I mean, I know probably what I'm saying is pie in the sky to a lot of people, but I've always been One of my pet peeves has always been how our governments just waste money. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I understand. That is the
They
root.
waste
That is
money.
That is
Oh
the.
my God.
So what I'm getting from you from this discussion, that the underlying theme from you is wastage of money and how that wastage could be reduced, how that waste could be reduced. That's the underlying theme.
Yes.
Yeah. And on that point, we guess we could conclude this morning's program, Island Tea,
It's like easy come, easy go.
post-independence discussion. Yes. Have a
Okay,
pleasant day,
Yeah,
guys.
we'll continue this tomorrow.
Yes, God's willing.
Because phones are still ringing.
Yes. Have a good
Okay.
one.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Cheers.
Yeah.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9.